I was tagged by a good friend, Ormodo, to do a video response if I had to have one folder for everything. And this is my first tag. And I want to start off by saying whoever started this, this is a really great idea, and it's a fun way to interact. I really am happy to do this video. And if people have requests for videos, I appreciate that interaction. Now I still got to do Pavlov video response to my favorite 3 martial arts films. I'm working on that, sir. Now I want to start off by saying this, that these are just my opinions, and they're my knives and my experiences with them, okay? And based off of my testing and experiences with 2 folders that we're going to focus on, specifically the Hindur XM or Striders, SMF, SNGs, these 2 are the main candidates for my one folder for everything. What I'm ultimately looking for is more blade, actual cutting edge. And also I'm looking for that there be no chance of the knife breaking on me, since this is the one I might be stuck with and I might need to use it for more than just cutting. Now a couple other things firsthand that are maybe not as important, but definitely did affect my decision in terms of the XM here, is the pocket clip, because it's that stonewash and a stonewash frame lock, and that's a little bit slippery. But as some people mentioned, you could send it to Tough Thumbs and he would bead blast it and bead blast the side and he would grip your pocket just like a Sebenza. But that might void your warranty, gotta say that. But of course, Tough could probably just re-stonewash it again anyway. Next thing would be that the XM's females are not open. Chris Reeve has opted now to make them open-headed, just like the Striders are here. But Hindur still has not. And so for me, that is a little bit weak point in terms of maintenance. And the next thing would just be the Teflon washers. So if you can tell now, obviously my one folder for everything, I agree with Ormodo, is my Strider. Now specifically though, it would be a Strider SMF Tonto. And it's the Tonto blade that made me choose the Strider. Now of course the pocket clip, again, a Strider pocket clip kind of sits at a spot where fabric gets caught in this little cutout right here, and so it really sticks in your pocket. So that's good. I mean, you don't have to worry about if you take a fall or don't pay attention or run or something that it's going to fall out of your pocket. Also then of course the screws being coated and having the open-headed, and then the phosphor bronze washers. But like I said, what it's all about is the blade. With Striders, of course, you can get lots of steel options. If you're looking for edge retention, a high-speed tool steel, you're looking for 3V, where you can pry with it. I mean, that's something that the Strider offers. I don't care about centering or blade play. To me, that's irrelevant in a folder I intend to use, because I mean, things are going to give out, tolerances are going to, the washer's going to wear. I mean, those kind of things over time. I mean, that's not really what's going to determine my ability to survive with it. What it is for me, this Tonto blade shape does it. And that's because, I want to explain the benefits of a Tonto. I mean, first of all, obviously, is that you get more cutting edge. Now, if I could, I would want my one folder for everything to be a Strider SMF XL. Because it's more blade length, more cutting edge, more reach, okay? But I mean, as you can see here, this is an SNG, and then that's because, I don't actually own an SMF, I have them for sale, but I can't actually afford one for myself just yet. That's on my list of things I definitely want. But this is the one I have. This is Mel's kitchen knife and EDC. And you can see what it is simple. I mean, first of all, with a Tonto, especially this 3/4 one, you get, a very thick prying tip, basically a screwdriver. You never have to worry about that tip breaking. Next thing would be, I mean, never is a strong word, but you know what I'm saying. Next thing would be this. You got these 2 edges to work with, and this point. Now Mel's point is kind of ground down because this is, But I mean, the point is this. If you've seen my past videos, if you're cutting into something, say for example like a can or something, a metal surface, this point, rather than having to dig with that point and cut like this and try to cut a hole into it, or ultimately break through that piece of metal, for example that can, you can use this tip and that instantly punctures a hole very quickly. So this is a very functional thing. I mean, it's not perhaps a belly, but still a point that if you know how to use a Tonto, you can get underneath whatever you're cutting in skin and then slide the rest in and use it as sort of like a scalpel or razor. And I heard survivalists say that you want to preserve this edge because this is what you're going to do most of your cutting whittling with. And this one you can, you know, let go of shit or something, you can like scrape your fire starter or something on it, and you know, it's no big deal. I disagree with that, since, you know, based on my experiences, you know, I can get the job done with a blunt edge on this side right here. So if I'm going to be cutting wood anyway, or doing something survival task oriented, then I'm going to quickly lose this edge eventually anyway. So then I would like to be able to keep a razor sharp edge on my knife. So the question is, you know, if we're talking edge retention, how long can I have my knife last? A Tanto, I always will have a sharp edge, because so long as I only use one of them, and the one that's razor sharp I use for only light tasks, I always have a sharp blade on me. So for me, that just makes total sense. You know, and I do perhaps like some of the recurve Tantos, but for ease of sharpening, this makes sense. And then the last thing would be is the recent discovery that I made in my last video of how Strider's lockup works, and how even if it wore out, you know, I know that this lock is never going to go too far in to where it's going to like gets jammed. It's always going to work, and it's always going to be, there's always going to be that steel wall, like someone said, that's going to keep it from going all the way that way, and always keep it there when I hold it. So for me, that's definitely something that then is what I consider, because I mean, all frame hooks are going to wear out in the end. So like I said, my one folder for everything would be a Strider SMF. Maybe a custom, you know, one of the ones with without the carbon fiber, maybe the G10 of course, or the dual titanium, something with a thick blade. If it's not one of the Dwyer recurves, that at least have that sharp curve, that strong curve over here up, so that sort of mocks the Tanto shape, preferably a Tanto. And if I could get it in like a cool steel, like 3V or M4 or something like that, that'd be great too. But that'll depend on what your uses are. So that's my one folder for everything, and thanks for tagging me, Ormoto. I appreciate it. Thank you.